Everyone, Joe Waxman here. In this video, I want to look at the chart of Mathew McConaughey, actor. Guys, don't forget to hit the like button and please subscribe if you have not already. All right. So, all right, everyone pretty much knows who Mathew McConaughey is. He had his breakout role in Dazed and Confused. And he's been in a lot of movies. I'm not going to go through them all. And basically, his claim to fame is that he's very handsome. He's considered a sex symbol, and he's an actor who, he's a good actor, right? Like, what else can you say about Mathew McConaughey? He's a good actor and he's very handsome, and he's a sex symbol. Right? I mean, there's, a lot of these people are kind of one-dimensional, really. I mean, there's not that much to them. It's not really a criticism as much as an observation. It just is what it is. All right. So he was born in Uvalde, Texas. I think there was a shooting there recently. His mother, interesting. I know Mary McCabe. That's not her. She's an author and kindergarten teacher, and she taught him, which makes so much sense. It's really funny when you look at his astrology. And his father ran oil pipe supply business, and that makes so much sense too when you look at the astrology. And he played football, and he was recruited by the NFL, though he never played. And it's amazing when you look at his chart, you'll see. All right. They married each other 3 times, having divorced each other twice. Also fascinating. One of his brothers adopted the other, is a self-made millionaire who starred in a CNBC docuseries, West Texas Investor Club. Let's see. None of this is important. He graduated from college with a Bachelor of Science in Radio, Television, Film. He thought he wanted to become a lawyer, but then he realized he was not interested in becoming a lawyer. He got to start working in television commercials. He was cast as the boyfriend in a music video, and then he landed the role in Dazed and Confused, and from there it was, to the moon success. I mean, he's very obviously, like I said, like he's got this face, he's got the sex appeal. He's very into fitness as well, triathlon, health, fitness, all that. He's done a lot of these rom-coms, romantic comedies, and he also plays some drama roles as well. Played a lawyer in one movie. What was it? A Time to Kill. I don't know if he was. I don't think I've ever seen it. It's about a courtroom crime novel. It's a courtroom crime novel based on a courtroom crime novel. Okay. I mean, I don't really care. So he got typecasted as a rom-com actor, and then he changed gears and came more, into like dramas and whatnot, more serious. He's played all different kinds of stuff. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get too detailed into that. What's interesting about him is, so he's married and he has a few kids. He's religious. He's a Christian, and in Hollywood, that's like a no-no, which is amazing. Like this modern world's crazy. Not that I'm like, I'm pretty turned off by religious fundamentalists, and I find these really hardcore Christians to be very hypocritical a lot of times. However, the alternative, which is like super popular in Hollywood, which is Satanism and like pedophilia, is far worse. Like, and they're like, hail Satan, let's drink some blood and kill some babies and do child porn and all that. It's like insanity. We live in an insane world of criminals and psychotic, evil people. And so I've had, and I won't throw any people under the bus, but I've had moments where I was on stage receiving an award in front of my peers in Hollywood, and you won a bunch of awards. And there are people in the crowd that I have prayed with before dinners many times. And when I thanked God, I saw some of these people going to clap, but then notice that bad thing on my resume and then sit back on their hands, which is absurd. I've heard, who is it? I'm terrible with names. This other actor, kind of in Matthew McConaughey's league, like same, status, thank Satan. And everyone's like, yay, Satan. Like, oh, can't thank God. But I'm all for personally, like, I'm not religious, but like, I have a very strong connection to God, right? Like, you don't have to be religious to connect to God, to have an understanding of God, to be very close to God, right? So, in any case, he became minority owner of Austin FC, a team in Major League Soccer. And he became a longtime fan of Washington Commanders. He's been a longtime fan of a football team. Politics. He has interest in politics, but you can tell he keeps his cards close to his chest. He doesn't really reveal himself. I suspect he's a bit more of a conservative, but he has that neutrality that's going to be kind of a bit neutral, like seeing both sides of things. But he has hinted or expressed interest in running for governor, but he hasn't fully committed to that. And we'll cover that in his astrology. He's very mild. Doesn't want to express any extreme opinions. We'll look at that. We need responsible gun ownership. We need background checks. We need to blah, 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 pandering to the left. Like, got it. I mean, I'm not saying that he doesn't believe it. It's just like, it's pretty much nonsense. It's appeasing the gun grabbers. They want to take away the guns. And just for clarity, there's far more defense in responsible gun ownership than offense. And I'm not saying there shouldn't be any laws, but this whole AR-15 insanity is ridiculous. I mean, they're semi-automatic. They only shoot one bullet at a time. It's not a machine gun. There's no such thing as an assault rifle. There's only a rifle. Right? There's modern rifles and traditional style rifles. So it's stupid. In any case, he's into philanthropy, as most rich Hollywood celebs are to some extent. But he started the Just Keep Living Foundation, which is dedicated to helping teenage kids lead active lives and make healthy choices to become great men and women. And that's we'll look at that in his astrology. It makes a lot of sense. And he became a professor of practice. I have no idea what that is, for radio, television, film at the Moody College of Communications at his alma mater, UT Austin. All right, that's pretty much it. Let's look at his astrology. All right. He's a sixth house Scorpio sun. So for being a sex symbol, sexuality, all that, yeah, very strong. Sixth house for health, fitness, competitive, activities, all that as well. For his father, being involved in oil and football, sports. Sixth house, competition, oil, Scorpio. Oil is Scorpio, right? As well as eighth house, right? It's perfect. Makes complete sense. So yeah, I mean, Scorpios do have that sexual magnetism, sex appeal. They are very sexualized beings, people. It just exudes from their pores, right? From their aura. And it's Mercury's also here. And you can tell why he was interested in lawyer, like thinking about being a lawyer. That's very sixth house. It's competitive. It's academic. Sixth house is very academic, very intellectual, editorial, hardworking, daily grind, sort of thing. Yeah. But this is not where his main star quality is coming from, but we'll get to that. But it is directly in conjunct the ascendant. So very competitive, but also very protective. And he's keeping a lot of secrets to himself, right? There's a lot about Matthew McConaughey that he's not going to divulge to the public. He's not going to tell people, and he's going to keep his private life private. Also, his Mercury's there. Mercury's the expression, the communication. So he's all into secrets. And so that's one of the things about Matthew McConaughey. He's not going to talk about what he really believes. And he's just going to put out a very nice superficial version that appeases everyone and, doesn't really rock the boat or anything like that. But that's largely due to this Libra influence. But we'll look at that. All right, Sun is ruling the IC, but it's also in the third house. So Sun's ruling the third and fourth cusp, right? But Mercury is ruling the fourth whole sign house, even though it's considered intercepted. But so in any case, he's very competitive, and I'm sure he's very argumentative. And the Scorpio is going to keep it under wraps, but I can tell you that if you push this guy, he will fight. He's going to be nice, he's going to be polite, but if you corner him like on a personal level about things, especially like Texas, because fourth house, homeland, turf, right, and expression, right? He's, you're gonna get his resentment if you're like, Texas sucks, Uvalde sucks, UT sucks. You might if he's drinking, he'll probably fight you, right? But otherwise, Scorpio kind of hides its what's going on the inside. It's more of an internalized anger and tension and resentment and vengeance, but he can be very vengeful. I'm sure of it, because it's that sixth house Scorpio combination that if you rub him the wrong way, he'll want his revenge and he will fight, definitely. He's got that strong scorpionic energy, and he's very concerned with hometown stuff, homeland, turf, his turf, and as well as, he's probably, he could be conflictual with the siblings because third is going into the sixth, but it's combining with fourth, so there's still some personal, hometown love there. But yeah, this is a very argumentative and a very intellectual and competitive combination. Now, his moon is sextile, and his parents got married and divorced 3 times. So like they're in pretty good relationships, even though it's sort of like both of these signs are pretty conflictual. Virgo and Scorpio, they represent 6th and 8th house respectively. So possibly for that reason, there's that tension there between them. But overall, they get along well. They're both intense aspect to the ascendant, quite strongly, which is interesting. It shows that there's this hardworking quality, but deep intensity. Virgo itself is very reserved, so his mother's a teacher and taught him, and he has a good relationship with his mother. Moon in the 4th house means, again, that 4th house, that home, love of mother, love of childhood, happy at home, happy, really home is where the heart is, and that includes not just his house, but homeland, home turf, Texas, Uvalde, that sort of thing. Proud to be an American. He wants to represent Texas. That's why he's running for Well, that's why he's interested in politics, right? Fourth house, again, governor, homeland. He's a real homeland guy, right? And let's see, Moon is ruling the second house. So his voice and his security and his resources are going into the fourth. So he very much values greatly his home and his homeland. And his home is probably very nice because it's second house, so it's like a value, something very valuable to him. And his mother, he values his mother greatly and derives a lot of security from his mother. Virgo Moon is very critical, very sharp-minded. The guy's smart. I mean, make no, don't doubt it. The guy is very intelligent, deep, very accurate kind of thinker, academic. Sixth house is a very academic house. And of course, Virgo is very academic as well. Sharp-minded, analytical, critical, perfectionist. Puritanical, conservative, right? So he probably does have a lot of conservative views. He has that religious orientation that he grew up with, loves his mama. Probably a bit more conflicted with his father, but it's still a good relationship. I mean, conflicted with both. Virgo is very picky and particular, but it's always out of concern and care. Virgo is very caring. It has that, Virgo is the type of energy or archetype that can criticize the hell out of you, but underneath it's because they really want the best for you. And they will do anything for you, because it's the house of service. It's the sign of service, rather, service to others. And it has that virgin mother quality. So Virgo Moon is like the virgin mother. Very critical, but they do really care. So his real star quality, I mean, these are both, his sun and moon is quite good in that the sextile means that his emotions, his personality and his heart, his emotions are harmonious. He's not conflicted internally. And then ascendant lord Mercury also, it's not too close to the sun, close enough, but not too close. It's pretty good. In the same sign, so that's harmonious. So there's a lot of harmony internally, except the fact that, I mean, these are both in difficult aspect to the ascendant. So there's some conflictual qualities there too, which he's probably keeping close to his chest. He's not really going to talk about the things that annoy him and bother him and rub him the wrong way, even though there probably is a lot of that, right? So, which is interesting. The real star quality is right here, Venus and Jupiter and Libra. First of all, Venus in Libra, Venus in Taurus or Libra is going to often be beautiful because Venus rules beauty. And often you'll see like the most handsome people have a well-dignified Venus, right? Creates a very handsome quality. And you see it like this smile, it's just almost like sickeningly sweet or something. Like, oh my God, what are you gonna try and like sell me some, insurance or something? I don't know. Like I like it. I like him, but it's that kind of like, okay, I get it. You're really handsome, you're really sexy. Okay, cool. But it's also this Jupiter here. Venus is bonifying this Jupiter. This is quite the excessive combination. It's exact. And that's why it's so dynamic, so powerful. It's in the fifth house. Basically, it's not trying the ascendant, but it's trying the first house, right? Fifth house is the house of romance, children, performance, entertainment, fun and games. So that sort of thing. It's excellent for acting, for being on stage, for being seen, for being heard, for all that kind of stuff. For artistic creativity, It's a very positive house, the fifth house. And it's better, in fact, if you're going to have a malefic, it's better to have a malefic in the fifth house than the first house. In the first house, it's going to be extremely powerful, but you can reap the negative benefits of that. Like with Uranus, for example. If I had to pick and choose, I'd probably have Uranus in the fifth or the ninth rather than the first, because Uranus in the first can create accidents for the person. Whereas Uranus in the fifth, the person is protected. Well, it depends on how other aspects, but at least it's not directly affecting the ascendant. I mean, just a quick example. Uranus conjunct Pluto in the first house, Kurt Cobain, right? Uranus is accidents, sudden accidents. Pluto's death, right? Sudden death, right? I have Uranus in the first house, so I'm prone to accidents. Had a few bad accidents in my life in Scorpio, and I have to be careful because that could mean sudden death, right? In this way, this is making him much more of a dynamic, actor, performer, stage presence with Uranus in the fifth here in Libra, especially because the fifth lord, the fifth cusp, is ruled by Venus, which is in good dignity in Libra. And then Venus and Jupiter, these are both the benefics. Venus and Jupiter together, when they're conjunct, when they're well aspected in a good house and sign, that creates a very, very strong, it's a very strong combination. It's excessive because they're both indulgent, right? Venus is the more material indulgence. Jupiter is just expansion and exaggeration and just voluptuous, growth and excess. Together, there's like laying it on super thick. All right. And that's what you kind of get that. But you need like the over dramatization on stage. Like in order for it to really, shine, you need that kind of excessive quality. That's why you can put him in front of a camera and he's just like got this smile and he's just lighting up the whole stage, right? That's this Venus and Jupiter combination. So excessive. But the crowd's gonna love it. He's almost like a caricature of himself, right? This is like over the top quality of this Libra. And he can play like he could sell ice to an Eskimo, right? That kind of thing. And coupled with the Scorpio, it's adding the tremendous sex appeal, Scorpio Sun and Mercury. I mean, Mercury's not, that's just gonna, the Mercury Scorpio, it's good at hiding things. It's, so he's not really, we're not getting the real Matthew McConaughey. We're getting like the glossed over, superficial Libran, like, hey, like everything's cool and balanced, man. And underneath, there's all sorts of stuff going on that he's not telling us, and we'll never know, right? Scorpio's super good at hiding things. We're just getting that smile and the gloss and the candy coating, right? Tremendous candy coating with Matthew McConaughey. And this Uranus kind of adds a lot of dynamic, interest. It makes it more interesting. Without this Uranus here, if the Uranus were in some unrelating house, just unaspected, it probably wouldn't be nearly as strong or unique or dynamic. Yeah, there's a lot going on under the surface. Mercury, which is his ascendant lord, and Mercury is also ruling, well, the fourth whole sign house, not ruling a cusp there, but ascendant lord, so himself, body, very much into fitness. Sixth house is opposite Saturn. Now Saturn is ruling 8th, 9th, and 10th cusp, but the 8th and 9th whole sign house. Interestingly enough, his MC is in the 9th house. Religion is important to him. Right? Now Saturn has some difficult aspects. It has some a semi-square and a sesqui-square to the nodes. So sorry, I feel a sneeze coming on. I don't know if it's gonna come through. Okay, kind of went away. But Mercury opposite Saturn, that's interesting. First of all, he can, as far as an actor, he can play some dramatic roles with this combination, because this is like an opposition of, the Scorpio Mercury, which is deep and secretive and kind of like a detective, especially in the sixth house. It will be like an academic detective, right? Sort of person, deep researcher, but also like studier, very intellectual. And then like the Saturn in Taurus is, Saturn represents authority. Taurus, I mean, this could be, any type of authority, leadership, the law. Taurus is going to be very stubborn. It's going to represent a lot of friction, and he himself could be, I don't know if he's ever had any run-ins with the law, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities. Court cases, right? Conflicts, and certainly it'll come through in his acting ability and his drama ability. This is a dramatic opposition here. This is definitely like that lawyer thing, being in the dramatic, courtroom drama type stuff. But in real life, there could also be conflicts with the law. Let's see. So Saturn is taking on, religion, philosophy, secret, hidden organizations, his career. It's in the 12th house. 12th house can mean jail in a negative sense, prison, isolation. So there's certain things that it's not in the Wikipedia. So I'm just trying to like guess how this is coming out. I mean, obviously we already said for the roles that he's playing, but yeah, there could be some oppositional things that he has some fights that he takes on in real life with this combination. Let's see, Saturn is exposited by this Venus, and 8th and the 12th will be okay because that's secret. And that could be something that's we're just not hearing about because there's too much hidden things going on. Like he could have some fights that he just doesn't want public and don't become public because there's too much secrecy going on. First of all, with the Scorpio, but also 8th house and 12th house, right? Involvement, that legal battles. Let's see. Yeah, legal battle, somebody suing him, things of that nature. Underground stuff, secret stuff. Yeah, but definitely he's into conflict. He's into the, both on and off the screen. He'll be in court from time to time, fighting certain things. That seems to be the case. Mars is 0 degrees Aquarius, and that's on the 9th house cusp. So Mars in the 9th house is very adventurous because Mars is very physical, initiative. 9th house in this way, often Mars in the 9th is often like love to go on adventures, love to travel long distances. Mars is dispositing the 6th house. So, conflict is going into religion for one thing, right? And that was part of what we talked about, what was expressed in the Wikipedia. So there's conflict around religion. And 11th house, groups, networks, career success, finance, things of that nature. Yeah. Let's see. So uh he's making so if the 11th Lord is going into the ninth, then his career success is going into religious philosophy academia as well, right? High academics, which also he's a professor. I don't know like if he's an actual professor, like an honorary professor or something, but that makes sense that because of his career success that he becomes like a professor, even if he's not like fully qualified. I guess he's qualified by his career. He's teaching acting or the similar things, right? So that's also interesting, right? But he's going to want to travel a lot, and definitely he's going to be physically involved in religious, philosophical, and high academic type pursuits. And that his career is also going to be tied into those things. It's going to South Node conjunct Pluto. And that's interesting. So definitely when he's young, there's going to be some destructive elements in his life. Again, he keeps his cards close to his chest, so he's not divulging, but drugs, sex, alcohol. It's Virgo, right? But still, it's, Pluto and Virgo. I mean, especially with Uranus there. I mean, that was the hippie era. I mean, they were certainly not too prudish for drugs, sex, and alcohol. That was very big. And with the strong Scorpio element, Neptune and Scorpio, I mean, look when he was born, 1969. Brian, Summer of 69, the song. I forget who sang that, but any case, the summer of 69, a lot of partying, a lot of drugs, sex, and alcohol, right? So he's very much a representative of that. That's very much in his wheelhouse. South Node Moon and South Node Pluto. But the South Node Moon is interesting because a lot of psychics have South Node Moon. And I don't think in Virgo, it's not going to, Virgo will be intuitive. So South Node Moon in Virgo will be very intuitive and also very, very sharp, especially as they get older. Very sharp. So I don't think he's a dummy at all. Like, I think he's probably got some very, very keen intellectual perception. He comes off a little bit shallow, but that's because of this strong Libra, Jupiter, Venus influence. He's using, of course, he's going to use that to his utmost advantage to land all these, face rolls where he's just like smiles, and that's pretty much it. And he just plays like a beach bum partier, sexy man, but he's very intellectually capable. His North Node, however, is in Pisces in the 10th whole sign house, and that's excellent for like a career in anything creative, but especially cinema, Hollywood, movies, that sort of thing. Pisces is that fantasy, the imagination, Hollywood, bright lights, creativity, glamour. And North Node is an obsession, right? It's where we become fully obsessed. So North Node, you often see this with celebrities or famous people or people with huge careers. North Node in the 10th house, very prominent. They just become obsessed with getting their whole being out into the spotlight. And in Pisces is just like Jupiter's dispositing it. Jupiter is bona fide by this domicile Venus. Whenever a planet is in domicile or in good dignity, exalted, it's going to benefit all the other planets in that house, or any planets that are positively aspected by it, right? And so Jupiter being exactly conjunct, it's this whole 10th house is lit up, right? Even though his MC is in Aquarius, it's still not negating the influence that this Pisces has. It's taking up most of the 10th house. And so Saturn is the MC Lord, but Saturn's in the 12th house in Taurus, Taurus disposited by Venus. So Venus is ruling this 12th house. Venus is also charging up the 12th house and Saturn, the career. Okay. 12th house, obviously also excellent for acting, for the alter ego, for imagination, for fantasy, and for secrecy as well. So we can tell Matthew McConaughey is a very secretive kind of person. Yeah. Uranus is opposite Chiron. This is a generational thing. A lot of people have this. I have this, but this does indicate something very painful, generational pain and trauma that comes with being alive at certain times. And he has that in the 5th and 11th house. So there's certain issues that he's going to have with his groups, with his networks, with his peers, and the Hollywood groups, the in crowd, the A-list Hollywood celebs. He's going to have issue with them, and we heard about that because also Mars is in the 9th house, where we know it's going to have to do with religion, philosophy, potentially even academia, high level, grad school type stuff. But for him, it's religion because he said so. And religion being 9th house, being or 9th whole sign house with the MC here, that's also going to be very prominent for him. So yeah, it's a sore point. His religion, his philosophy, and the groups and networks that he belongs to, the A-listers, they're all like, let's drink the blood of babies and celebrate Satan. He's like, no, guys, I'm going to celebrate God. And sorry if you don't like it. I'm not going to join you in your ritual satanic sacrifice of killing babies and drinking their adrenalized blood. I'm sorry to be so, blunt about it, but I'm not sorry, in fact. But I mean, it's just, I get it. Like I'm not giving it the weight it deserves, but the word has to get out there. Like, these people are sick psychopaths, and the whole thing needs to burn. That includes Hollywood, that includes politics, that includes executives, all the people with power and influence. They're all just, not all, obviously Matthew McConaughey is not, but a lot of them are. A lot of them are just evil psychopaths, satanic. Really. I mean, this is not hyperbole, this is not conspiracy theory. I mean, it's real. Okay. Yeah, so yeah. What else? So the South Node, Moon, and Pluto in the 4th house shows that, like, his early childhood, his past, and his home life is quite that role that he played in Dazed and Confused. Okay, that's very much like that. Like, hometown boy, partier, drug, sex, alcohol, that sort of thing, but still keeping it clean, keeping it fit, keeping it healthy, keeping up looks and appearances. That's Virgo, right? And that's 6th house Scorpio. That's all, very real for him. I'm sure that is very true to life. Right. Jupiter is also ruling the 7th house. So 7th and the 5th with Venus. I mean, talk about success with the ladies. 5th house is romance, it's fun, it's games. When 7th and the 5th is the opposite. Not just the ladies, but like, friend, like, he's very fun because people, his personal relationships are going to the 5th house. He has fun with people, fun games with the ladies, romance, and he's very into the ladies because Jupiter is going to conjunct Venus for a man, Venus in Libra. So the ladies he gets are definitely going to be very pretty, very attractive. He himself, very attractive. And that's a good combination, and he's very lucky, very fortunate. I mean, in that sense, in a materialistic kind of sense, this is like Jupiter is greatly expanding the Venus qualities. So I mean, he's just like, his life is just like, I mean, he's just having a good time all the time, basically, except for when he gets made fun of or criticized for his conservative religious views. Which in this case, I support, because what's the alternative? Like I've been saying, I don't want to, stress that too much, but some conservative, like, obviously I'm against dogmatism, I'm against fundamentalism. Those people are extremely annoying and divisive too, right? Because they alienate anyone who's not like them. Oh, if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, like, that's the only way. Everyone else is wrong, we're right. Everyone else is, I mean, it's just everyone, all religious fundamentalists are the same like that. We're right, you're wrong. And they start wars and they kill people, so that's just as bad. But a healthy, open connection to God is I'm very supportive of, very much. Yeah. What else? What else can we say? He's having a great time, and he's coming into some conflicts, and he's very secretive, and he's balanced view, and he's neutral, loves to pay lip service to neutrality, but he has his conservative side. But Pluto is not very conservative either, so there's some a lot of, I guess, destructive or liberal kind of views. I mean, it's balanced. I mean, I guess overall he's balanced, but definitely he has some Texas conservative nature in him. In any case, let's look at his draconic chart. His draconic chart is basically almost the same as his natal chart. So, like, I like to think that, like, the draconic chart is sort of like, who are you underneath the mask? It's not going to show out on the surface, but it's almost like your secret self, right? He's basically the same. Ascendant Gemini. And I didn't even talk about the Gemini ascendant, but Gemini ascendants are embody the ascendant, and the sun are the two main forces of the personality, right? And the relationship between the two is very important to analyze. These are both in Scorpio, by the way, so he's very secretive, very hidden. That's why, even though he's a Gemini, underneath that he's going to hide it, and it's coming out with a lot of passion, his expression, because Scorpio is very passionate, deeply passionate, right? And sexual. But Gemini is great with words. Gemini is so quick and witty, especially Gemini ascendant. In some ways more than Gemini. It depends. I mean, but they exhibit a lot of the same qualities, the sun and the ascendant. It's like, which is more, they're both very, very strong, as far as like the worldly connection and expression. Ascendant is more personal, but the sun is probably shows up a bit more in day-to-day worldly kind of affairs. In any case, let's see what's different. Still moon in Virgo. Like, I have moon in Virgo. Critical thinker, analytical, right? Very logical. Pluto moves into Libra, and it's basically right over Uranus. So that is a dynamic duo, because that's the Pluto Libra combination of the 60s. So that's quite powerful, and in the 5th house. So that's really interesting to see. Uranus is still here, and then Jupiter and Venus move into Scorpio, still in the 5th house, but actually kind of moving into the 6th house, because it's pretty close to the 6th house cusp. But and now it's becoming more intense, more deep, dark, obsessive. Venus loses dignity in Scorpio. It becomes in detriment. However, it has some dignity because of triplicity, water triplicity rulership. But Venus in Scorpio is like obsessive about relationships, right? And to, like, in a very, very painful way, painfully obsessed. There's a lot of pain with Venus and Scorpio, like pain in relationships, and like obsessive love and desires. But Jupiter's still there, so Jupiter helps it somewhat. But Jupiter and Scorpio can be, believe in like occultism and stuff like that, dark, right? They can make a religion out of the occultism, almost like, I think maybe Aleister Crowley and Jupiter and Scorpio. I can't remember. but that sort of thing. And then of course, Sun and Mercury still in Scorpio. Neptune and Sag. Neptune moves into Sag. Neptune and Sag is like much brighter, but still like such a partier and like wild and crazy. It's like, unleash the cowboys and the wild cowboys, party and adventure. It's a different feeling. They're both, Neptune and Scorpio is like Black Sabbath. Neptune and Sag is like Led Zeppelin, right? Just to bring in some rock and roll allegories. And I didn't really touch on this, but let's see, Neptune in the sixth. Neptune in the sixth is interesting. It's probably not so good for law, because it's what it's good for is like creative writing, because Neptune is so creative, and the sixth house is so sort of like nose to the grindstone, academic, right? So like anything like daily routine of creativity, and like, I bet he could be a script writer and write some like gritty scripts that are pretty intense and dramatic. Neptune in Scorpio is going to be quite dramatic. Neptune in Sag is going to be wild, like Star Wars came out with Neptune and Sag. Wild fantasy, right? Mars, pretty much the same. It's still in Aquarius in the ninth. It's not really doing anything in the Draconic. It's not really conjunct, but all right. I mean, it's all very much the same. I think the rest is pretty much all the same. The nodes obviously change, but that's always the case with Draconic chart. MC moves into Pisces, and that's fitting for a movie star. Okay, so that's Matthew McConaughey. Interesting. I think I learned a lot about him because he keeps a lot of secrets, and there's a lot going on that we don't know with Matthew McConaughey. And he is political, and one day, now, you know what? He's probably not going to run for office, even though he has an interest in politics, because South Node is just going to pull the energy. It's going to suck out the energy from this fourth house. So it'll be like, yeah, I'm interested in it, but I just don't have the energy to do that. Instead, he's going to pursue the public spotlight, movies. He's just going to become and he's going to have a long-lasting career with North Node and Pisces. He's just going to be making movies for the rest of his life, and going to be rich, famous, successful guy with tons of adoring fans and women throwing themselves at him, that sort of thing. And he's always going to have some pain about his conservative religious views, but good for him for not being a evil satanic sellout who traffics children and drinks their blood and celebrates child porn and all that disgustingness. Horrible things, right? This world, I'm gonna say we really need to burn, because there's so much corruption. At some point, it's just like you can't redeem it. It just needs to burn. But that's not up to me. That's up to God, to the universe, to the power, the ruling power of this universe, which we call God. So guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment down below, and book a reading with me. My website is macroastrology.com. My email is macrogoldmachine@yahoo.com, and I will see you again soon. All right, thank you. Bye.